Good morning. The secret of happiness is reverence for all life.
Good morning, dear friends. Very happy to be here with all of you on this very special day of as we celebrate the birth anniversary of our Guru's beloved Guru, Swami Shri Yukteshwar ji. And so this morning we will try to find some inspiration and also some instructions from the life of Shri Yukteshwar ji. And through Paramahansa Yogananda ji, we have a lot of glimpses into his life. And so all of you, along with Dhyana ji, Nitendra, Pranita, and all of you have come up with a very nice flow. So this next hour is going to be very beautiful. And you are equally part of all that is as well. So as we begin this satsang, let's offer a prayer together. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great Gurus, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Shri Yukteshwar ji, Paramahansa Yogananda ji, saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow to you all. Divine Masters, Shri Yukteshwar ji, we invoke your presence in this satsang. Be with us, fill us with your consciousness, and make us perfect instruments of your consciousness into this world. We are your disciples. We are your chelas. Thank you for your presence. With deepest gratitude, we offer you our love. We offer you our lives. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We'll do a few chant and a short meditation. So feel free to chant along with me. this next chant we will take into meditation. I have made the pole star of my life. Taking that chant, that determination to making this teaching our gurus as the pole star of our lives, let's just meditate. As we begin our meditation, let's tense the body, hold the tension, vibrate the body, exhale, relax it 2 more times, and exhale, and one last time, and exhale. And as we meditate, you can practice any technique, but especially tune into Sri Yukteshwar Ji, make an inner call to him to come to us in this even short period, make his presence felt. And as we chant, as we talk, as we sit in silence even today, let's invite his presence. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We will now listen to an excerpt from Autobiography of a Yogi, the chapter of Sri Yukteshwar Ji's resurrection, and that will be read by Swami Kriyananda Ji. And I request Nitendra to play that, please.
Sitting on my bed in the Bombay Hotel at 3 o'clock in the afternoon of June 19th, 1936, 1 week after the vision of Krishna, I was roused from my meditation by a beatific light. Before my open and astonished eyes, the whole room was transformed into a strange world, the sunlight transmuted into supernal splendor. Waves of rapture engulfed me as I beheld the flesh and blood form of Sri Yukteshwar. My son, Master spoke tenderly, on his voice an angel bewitching smile. For the first time in my life, I did not kneel at his feet in greeting, but instantly advanced to gather him hungrily in my arms, moment of moments. The anguish of past months was toll I counted weightless against the torrential bliss now descending. Master mine, beloved of my heart, why did you leave me? I was incoherent in an excess of joy. Why did you let me go to the Kumbh Mela? How bitterly I have blamed myself for leaving you. I did not want to interfere with your happy anticipation of seeing the pilgrimage spot where I first met Babaji. I left you only for a little while. Am I not with you again? But is it you, Master, the same Lion of God? Are you wearing a body like the one I buried beneath the cruel Puri sands? Yes, my child, I am the same. This is a flesh and blood body. Though I see it as ethereal, to your sight it is physical. From the cosmic atoms I created an entirely new body, exactly like that cosmic dream physical body which you laid beneath the dream sands at Puri in your dream world. I am in truth resurrected, not on earth, but on an astral planet. Its inhabitants are better able than earthly humanity to meet my lofty standards. There you and your exalted loved ones shall some day come to be with me. Deathless Guru, tell me more. Master gave a quick, mirthful chuckle. Please, dear one, he said, won't you relax your hold a little? Only a little. I had been embracing him with an octopus grip. I could detect the same faint, fragrant, natural odor which had been characteristic of his body before. The thrilling touch of his divine flesh still persists around the inner sides of my arms and in my palms whenever I recall those glorious hours. As prophets are sent on earth to help men work out their physical karma, so I have been directed by God to serve on an astral planet as a savior, Sri Yukteshwar explained. It is called Hiranyaloka, or illumined astral planet. There I am aiding advanced beings to rid themselves of astral karma and thus attain liberation from astral rebirths. The dwellers on Hiranyaloka are highly developed spiritually. All of them had acquired in their last earth incarnation the meditation-given power of consciously leaving their physical bodies at death. No one can enter Hiranyaloka unless he has passed on earth beyond the state of Savikalpa Samadhi into the higher state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. The Hiranyaloka inhabitants have already passed through the ordinary astral spheres, where nearly all beings from earth must go at death. There they worked out many seeds of their past actions in the astral worlds. None but advanced beings can perform such redemptive work effectually in the astral worlds. Thus, in order to free their souls more fully from the cocoon of karmic traces lodged in their astral bodies, these higher beings were drawn by cosmic law to be reborn with new astral bodies on Hiranyaloka, the astral sun, or heaven, where I have resurrected to help them. There are also highly advanced beings on Hiranyaloka who have come from the superior, subtler causal world. My mind was now in such perfect attunement with my Guru's that he was conveying his word pictures to me partly by speech and partly by thought transference. I was thus quickly receiving his idea tabloids. You have read in the scriptures, Master went on, that God encased the human soul successively in three bodies, the idea or causal body, the subtle astral body, seat of man's mental and emotional natures, and the gross physical body. On earth, a man is equipped with his physical senses. An astral being works with his consciousness and feelings, and a body made of life-trons. A causal-bodied being remains in the blissful realm of ideas. My work is with those astral beings who are preparing to enter the causal world.
Okay, Hitendra, there is one more reading that we have.
Good morning. This reading is from the Whispers from Eternity by Paramahansa Yogananda. My Guru. As a naughty baby, I cried out for my Mother Divine, and she came to me as my Guru, Swami Sri Yukteshwar. At that meeting, O my Guru, a spark flew from thee, and the faggots of my God craving, gathered through incarnations, smoldered and blazed into bliss. All my questions have been answered with thy flaming golden touch. Eternal, ever-present satisfaction has come to me through thy glory. My Guru, thy voice of God, I found thee in response to my soul cries. Slumbers of sorrow are gone, and I am awake in bliss. If all the gods are displeased, yet thou art pleased, I am safe in the fortress of thy pleasure. And if all the gods protect me behind the parapets of their blessings, yet I receive not thy benediction, I am an orphan left to pine spiritually in the ruins of thy displeasure. O Guru, thou did bring me out of the bottomless pit of darkness into the paradise of peace. Now we will have a reading from the Bhagavad Gita.
From the essence of Bhagavad Gita, the chapter is Freedom Through Action. Those are greatest among human beings who help to bring masses to God. In this way only can a master's greatness be acclaimed. It is outstanding among other masters only for the good to be done on earth. Otherwise, every Jivan Mukta, having achieved Nirvikal Samadhi, is as great as the greatest Siddha or perfected being. He may have past karma to work out, even so, he is one with God, and there are no gradations of oneness. There is another distinction between one perfected master and another. One who is an ascended master, having attained that state in the present lifetime, has the spiritual power to free only a few others. A Jivan Mukta who returns to earth to continue working out his past karma, and from that level also to guide his disciples, also has limited divine power compared to the one who is fully liberated to uplift the human race. One, on the other hand, who achieves full liberation yet preserves the desireless desire unselfishly to bring understanding to the world and is therefore born again in perfect freedom, comes back with limitless spiritual power. Such a person is an avatar. Only one who achieved final liberation in a former life deserves that appellation. An avatar is a universal savior, like Krishna, Buddha, Jesus Christ. Thousands, indeed millions, at least in theory, though there are never millions at any one time who actually seek God. Millions can be carried to God by such a one, as a powerful railway locomotive is capable of pulling a very long train behind it. Om Guru.
Thank you, Nitendra. Thank you, Pranita, for those wonderful readings. And I'm very happy, I must say, to be able to spend this morning with all of you. And this is a very special day as well. And we can say that this is like a gift from our gurus to all of us. And as we spend this morning together. So just a few thoughts I would like to share as we remember Sri Yukteshwar ji. Nitendra read about the avatar and their coming onto the planet, but you see, like all our line of gurus, which is starts from Babaji, Lari Mahasaya, Sri Yukteshwar ji, and Master himself, Paramahansa Yogananda ji, very different kinds of, if we may say, personalities, or the way truth was expressed to them was very different. And we all know probably Sri Yukteshwar ji wasn't one of those Premavatar as we know Master to be one, but he was a very stern disciplinarian. So even we kid at times that if you want a danda, then you have to pray to Sri Yukteshwar ji, and he sure will give you a nice danda, a very useful danda. Having said that, there's a very beautiful and a sweet story even from his life, which is also mentioned in Autobiography of a Yogi, where Swami Master writes about Sri Yukteshwar ji meeting or talking to his mother and trying to convince her of some issues. It's not disclosed there, but his mother says, like, well, don't you talk to me about it. I am not your disciple. You are just my child. And humbly, just like a childlike attitude, he also let that thing go. And that sort of is a very sweet story. It sort of stuck, I think, most of with us. Master says that he also felt at that moment, or in that story, a different dimension of Sri Yukteshwar as well, like a very humble inside, but a very stern and then very straightforward and adherence to truth, as we say, from the outside. And that's how probably most of his life was. His life mission wasn't necessarily as big as Master's, but it was very clear, and he did it with that precision. We all know him as being a Jnana Avatar, and everything that he did also sort of exemplified that as well. But you see, he was supposed to train Yogananda ji. One of his main job in his lifetime was, and he took it to real heart. We remember the time when the story of Master coming to Yukteshwar ji, and of course, after requesting him to be accepted as a disciple, Master was asked to give him his unconditional obedience and love. But Master had one question, and he insisted that you have to promise, he said to Sri Yukteshwar ji, that you have to introduce me to God. You have to promise that you will give me that realization. And Sri Yukteswarji is actually, as Master says, he hesitated, not necessarily because he wasn't quite sure, but he understood what great responsibility that is. And after some time, he said, okay, I give you that promise. But you see, that is the promise of a guru. You see, like when such a huge thing, such a huge promise has been given, they can't afford not to make sure that the disciple is actually making any progress. It is following the teaching, and then Sri Yukteswarji made sure in his own life. Some of you, or probably many of you who are parents, would understand this sense of responsibility when we bring a new soul, or we say a child into this world. The parents are, they take up a large responsibility. I was talking to S.A., one of our dear Guru Bhais. I think some of you know him as well. And so he and his wife recently had a child. And he says, when you have a child, you all of a sudden become 10 years old. And so like you have no idea when you're going to get a very good night's sleep the next. And because it's a very lovingly accepted responsibility, isn't it? And precisely now, when Guru accepts a disciple, we all say that I took discipleship, I went to these classes, I finished level 2, 3, 4. But in level 3, we also say the one thing, which is like, what? It's not the disciple, it's the Guru who creates circumstances for the disciple to come to him. In other words, the Guru chooses the disciple when the disciple is ready. But you see, if you reflect on ourselves, what are we ready for? See, we all, in our own lives, we still have our own things to work on. But that's all Guru's responsibility. It may not be fixed in this lifetime. We hope it will be. But he has given that promise. Pranita just read something from Whispers from Eternity, and one of the poems there is also God's Boatman. We read that many times, and there the promise is really made very strong, where it says that bleeding feet I come, as long as there's one stray brother left behind. There's another light story I will like to tell. Hari, who is from Ananda, Delhi, they did this living discipleship program in Ananda village. And so they were reflecting on that poem, and then the teacher, the facilitator who was conducting that session, asked, so out of you guys, who think you will be that last stray brother? Not that you want to be, but because of your own understanding of who you are, you think that there's a good chance that you will be last stray brother. And everybody sort of just went down and then slowly raised their hands, and that included the facilitator also. And part of it was on a light-hearted note, but it's also, we know that there is a huge task ahead of us. The more we look into ourselves, we see it's not easy. The spiritual path necessarily isn't a piece of cake or just a good thing to have, but it requires work. But the master says, I will do that. I'll wait for you. And there's no imposition. There's another very, very beautiful story in Autobiography of a Yogi. Our beloved master Paramahansa Yoganandaji, when he just started going to Sri Yukteshwarji, he was impatient to find God, and that impatience is good, and Sri Yukteshwarji didn't mind that as well. So he felt that, no, this is not, this Kolkata or Sri Rampur is not the place where one finds God. One finds God where? In the Himalayas. And there was a longing in his heart to go there and then spend time in the masters from the Himalayan. And Sri Yukteshwar tried to tell him a few times, but that desire, that conviction, that understanding that, oh, it has to be there, was so strong. One day he said, I'm going to the Himalayas. So Sri Yukteshwarji said, okay. And we know that the story, as he goes and then meets one of the saints there, and he asks the saint to give him a experience of God consciousness or a samadhi. The saint says, no, it's not my place to give you that experience. My dear child, you're wasting your time. What you need is what your guru will give. And so it is his place, and he will give you all what you need. And something at that moment sunk in Yoganandaji's heart, and he returns back to his guru's ashram. Sri Yukteshwarji is right there, and then he comes, and he's a little now feeling a little embarrassment, and says like, Guruji, I'm back. and I'm not going anywhere. He says, okay, well, very well. And then he says, aren't you upset with me? To which Sri Yukteshwarji's answer is very beautiful and very important for all of us to understand. He says, why would I be upset with you? I have no personal or particular interest in you, besides the fact that I'm interested in your highest potential. But that something cannot be imposed. And now you are back, we will resume our work precisely from where it is. And that is beautiful love of Master, isn't it? Like we do all childish things and we all do all sorts of ignorance, but they wait. They wait till our tantrums and then unnecessary whims and fancies are done and say, are you ready now? So let's get back to work. And in many ways, you see, that is the love. It is not necessarily personal. And then he did it very particularly well. On a larger scheme of thing, masters also know far more than what is needed and what we actually want. He was not one of those very cuddly. I think in one of the talks, Paramahansa Yogananda says, someone talked about, did he love you? And says, the master stopped him. No, there was absolutely no love in those eyes. And he wasn't saying that he really didn't care, but love or loving kindness kind of wasn't an expression that Sri Yukteshwarji chose necessarily to give the teaching or share the teaching with his disciples. He would be very mean to Master at times. He would mock him whenever he makes a mistake, even in public. But again, it wasn't necessarily public, as personal. As Master says, it was primarily with the intention, because he knew what Paramahansa Yoganandaji has to do in his life as it goes forward. And with that intention, he would say. And so when Yoganandaji went to the US, and of course, first many years, and even throughout his time in the United States, he was faced with enough amount of criticism. But he was trained. He didn't mind. That didn't come in between him and his mission as he felt Babaji and his Guru wanted him to do. But you see, even that was part of the training. So at times, as we personalize this, we feel that, oh, why is this happening to me? Or why are these trials? Why can't it be so easy? Why can't just there be Satchidananda as we understand God all the time from hence forward? But precisely the Guru knows. And you replace Guru with, as we connect to this life, you see, everything that comes to us in circumstances, they know what we're capable of. They know precisely what our next step could be, what is needed to make us own strong. You see, just for all of us to take our next step. One final thing I want to say, this satsang, as again Nitendra read something about freedom through action. The satsang, and then Sri Yukteshwarji himself was not, though he was Jnana Avatar, we all understand that Jnana Avatar is not intellectual bullfight, as Master says, but more in terms of that unceasing looking till you find the absolute truth within yourself, and through that to everywhere. So that is an action. It is not something, just a spark of inspiration. And so I would like to just share some tools and some ways by which we could actually deepen our own understanding of the path and then what it is trying to say. Swami Kriyananda talked a lot about renunciation, but he talked about renunciation in New Age. We all understand the sannyasis or the path of sannyas as traditionally it is understood in India. And there is something absolutely truthful in there. But Swamiji just took the essence of it and he said this applies to everyone. And what did he talk about that? He said it is the renunciation, the true renunciation is about the ego renunciation. And so I just want to talk about this. And when I started looking about ego renunciation, what can we renounce? We can renounce chai, we can renounce coffee. Why? Because it is tangible. We understand that, oh, I'm drinking this. I don't want to drink this anymore. We can renounce one of the bad habits that we have. Ego renunciation also requires us first to understand and identify that presence of ego within ourselves, isn't it? How can we renounce some things it is not there? And this word is very loosely understood primarily, and we probably put it in a very negative connotation. And it is rightly so, because egoistic people or egotistical people is not something we resonate with. But the part is probably all of you who are listening are not egoistical. That is not one of our main problem. You see, so that's why we want to look at ego, like I heard it recently, where it's like a three-factor thing. There's a tamasic ego, which is what we understand, where people sort of look you down. It's like, you go away. I'm the boss here. But that is not something which is probably inherent to most of us, or we resonate with that. So that's, but then there are other more refined parts of ego, if we may say it like that, just for the sake of understanding. There's a Rajasic ego. What does Rajasic ego speak within ourselves? Oh, I want to do this social work, or I want to go and start schools. I want to go and start hospitals. That's, I don't have time to talk about that today, but the final one, if we may call it like a Sattvic ego. And who is that? That is like the seeking tendency within us, a seeker. There's a story I would like to say about from a life of another saint. He went to his guru, and he was a Vedantic. And so this saint asked the guru, the Vedantic, okay, I want to find God. He says, you want to find God? So he said, you will be able to find God when you die or you disappear. This is like, what is he talking about? You see, like, if I won't be there to find God, what's the whole point of this exercise? And that is what I think the type of introspection or the looking. The seeker, and there is a topic that we also use in Sunday Satsangs at times, whether the ego is friend and foe, in terms of whether the seeker. You see, the seeking tendency is something arising within us. It is very useful because that pushes us to make that inquiry, make an effort to really find our true nature. But you see, like the fundamental truth always still remains. What we are seeking is already right here. The tendency or the projection of seeker is always like looking something outside. A quick thing I'll show. And this is also, see, everything autobiography of a yogi, the book has happened. It is not literally, but it has happened because we ourselves sort of go through those phases. You must have read the book, the chapter where Master got his first experience of cosmic consciousness. You see, he became ecstatic. He became aware of something, and he wrote that poem Samadhi after that. After having that experience of oneness, after having that experience of everything is one, Master goes to Swami Shri Yukteshwar Ji and asks again, but Master, when will I find God? You see. And that is again the seeker speaking. You see. It's not that the Master was on some other consciousness level, but again, precisely if you want to, that is how our mind works. You know, we go in our meditations and something beautiful comes. Mind thinks, or we think, the seeker inside ourselves think that this is what maybe the goal of it is. The goal is really right here, and that's why it needs to go away. There's a book that Master has written, and then Bhagavad Gita, and he in there gave like a representation of every character in Mahabharata, a tendency or some energy within ourselves. For example, he says Duryodhana represents the material desire. As we are locked down and there is no food supply, at times a desire comes, so I want to have chola bhatura today. Whenever that kind of a thought comes, we speaking, that is the Duryodhana energy speaking within ourselves, not don't go with the bad and good. So in that book or in that way, Yogananda Ji gave us a way to identify these different energies arising within ourselves. We use this word I many times, but this is a tool by which you say, like, who is this I speaking? You see, I want chola bhatura is a very temporal person who comes inside, because you eat it and now that is gone. And now something else comes and then starts speaking about it. So if I may invite, when you do your own introspection, a type of inquiry, as they talk about, because all these energies which come and go, they are not our true reality. But then what is our true reality? What is our true reality is for us to find when we say this is not it, this is not it. That's the neti practice as understood by the Jnana yogis, But within ourselves also remains a space through which we can perceive all these things. In our meditations, when we sit, we say, oh, today I had a meditation which was very restless. Today I had a very blissful meditation. So within ourselves have that capacity to report, see whatever is happening. So, and we are always interested in reporting that capacity. But at any moment we say, who is this person who is reporting? What is this space within us which is always capable of telling me, oh, this is happening, that is happening? If we start looking at that space, it sort of has the capacity to bring us more closer to our own reality. Last thought I will share before we close for today is when Sri Yukteshwar ji was used to be asked by many intellectuals to talk about proof of God and whatnot. So to them, he said that 24 hours, if you just find yourself pay attention to your thoughts, you will get the proof of the existence of God. 24 hours. Circumstantially, this period, which is a very strange period for all of us, but a good part of it is that all distractions have been cut off now. There are no hotels, there are no movie theaters, there are no malls, there's no going out. So taking that as we honor the existence of Sri Yukteshwar ji, his teaching, and through him, Yoganandaji's presence in our life, the best gift we could give is like spending, if not 24 hours, some hours, as he's inviting us to pay attention to our thought, and using that as a chain, using that as a doorway to find spaces within ourselves which are not as impermanent as that desire for chola bhatura or that anger which comes and goes, but a place which is of permanency, which never ever leaves, which always is. And that I feel will be a very beautiful gift and honor and an appropriate Guru Dakshina to Sri Yukteshwar ji, and a heartful gratitude that we can all give. So very joy to share this time with all of you. So the last thing we are going to do now is an arati, and I would request Pranita and Nitendra to do the arati. I'll play it, and if you all also have like a small diya and your own altar, I would invite you all also to do the arati with us together. Okay. Wait. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Now, let us visualize the blessings of Swami Sri Yukteshwar and all our gurus blessing us in this light. Om Guru.
And just let's end with sharing the blessings of this morning with everyone, all souls in need everywhere, our friends, our family, our Guru Bhais. As we chant Om 3 times together. Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, dear friend. Joy to you.